Hi, it's Mike from Laptop Upcycle. We're a not-for-profit in Montclair, New Jersey, and we give laptops to kids. We have kids come in and refurbish those laptops that are donated to us. Today I want to talk about how to wrap a charger cord for a laptop. Okay, so we often get donations of chargers from companies or from individuals, and they come in sort of a mishmash. And in that, they become tangled together, and you can't pull them apart. So we have a lot of chargers, we have a lot of laptops, and they get tangled up just like this. So the important thing for us to be able to do is to be able to keep them in boxes where they don't get tangled with each other. So we have a pretty specific way of wrapping the chargers. Since we wrap them and unwrap them a lot, it'll minimize the damage that could occur from such frequent wrapping and unwrapping and keep them from tangling up with each other. So that's what I want to go over today. So here's some typical chargers that we've wrapped. You can see that they're independent of one another. If we were to grab them all together, they separate easily from each other. So you'll notice it's never wrapped around the charger block. The cord is kept separate from the charger block, except in the case of these older Dell chargers, because they were designed specifically to wrap around the charger block. And I'll go over how we make sure that they don't get damaged as that occurs. So here's the typical one that we have. You can see when we unwind the way that we have wrapped it, all the wires remain independent of each other. There's no tangling of it. Let me show you how we wrap these things. So this is really the most sensitive part of the charger, and we're going to try to protect this as much as we can. So this particular style, it comes out longitudinally from the charger block, and that's the way we want that to end up being kept as we wrap it. So we protect that by taking the other end of the cable, the one where the plug goes into. You can see this is the plug end of it. That's the one that we match up with the one that goes into your laptop. And we hold it here with our thumbs so that will not get disturbed as we wrap the wires for it. And now we just wrap in a figure 8 fashion for these wires back and forth below that area where this attaches into the charger block. So as we wrap it back and forth across here, we readjust our fingers, etc., to be able to wrap back and forth for it, and we wrap these back and forth until we reach the end of one of the wires that's there. We're holding them together until we reach the end of one. It's typically the cord that goes into the wall, and then we just finish off with the remainder for the other one. And they also typically have a piece of Velcro that's there, and then we wrap the Velcro around the wires. We don't wrap it around the charger block. Now you can see what happens is that this portion here that we wanted to protect, you see, there's no pressure against this at all. So as we move this around, there's no pressure from it being sort of twisted around the charger block for it. So this end is much more sturdy for it, and frankly, this is replaceable. This is not replaceable. This goes bad, the whole charger goes away. So that's why we're protecting it in this way. That's how we wrap a typical charger block. Now there's a couple of other examples I want to go over as well. So this charger block is a slightly different variety. And you can see in this case, the part that goes into the computer is at a right angle to the charger block. So that's what we want to protect for it. You also notice that this doesn't have a piece of Velcro for it. That's been lost somewhere along the way, so we've substituted a twist tie for it. You could also use a rubber band if you don't have a twist tie for it. Again, the same concept applies though, and you'll see as I unwrap it, it completely unfolds without any tangling at all. So here we go with this one. Since this one goes at 90 degrees for it, we wrap it at 90 degrees, and I hold it there as I take the first wrap for it. Again, I'm again trying to protect this portion here for it. So now I drop the charger block like this, and I move this back and forth in a figure 8 fashion, just like I did on the one prior. Now again, we finished with one of them, the cord that plugs in, it's done, but there's still some more of a cord that goes into the computer. So now we just continue along with the same pattern with that one wire that's there. And you can see it lays right across there. If we had a piece of Velcro, we would have used that. It would have been on the strap. In this case, we don't have that, so I've substituted a twist tie. And again, I am not wrapping it around the charger block. That's what's the most important thing is. If you start wrapping around the charger block, you end up twisting all the wires. So that, and it'll become twisted with the other chargers that you put with it. So you can see, this is quite independent. You know, there's no pressure whatsoever on here, and it's a tight package for it. So that's another style, and it's really the same style, except this is at 90 degrees instead of being longitudinal with the charger block. Okay? So now there's a third style, and this is a kind of an old Dell charger style where they put a band actually around the charger block, and they designed this to go around the charger. Now in this case, we do wrap it around the charger if it still has this intact. If it doesn't have this intact, we wrap it just like we wrap these. Now we could ignore this and wrap it just like these, but then we have to contend with this thing flopping around. So we capitulate and wrap it around the charger block. So, and of course that means when we unwrap it, we have to unwrap it. It's more to unwrap it so that it doesn't become tangled. So, again, in this case, again, this is the weak part, and if this is broken, the charger's no good anymore. This is replaceable, remember? So this one we care less about, okay, and this one we care more about. So when we wrap it around, we give some space there with our thumb, and we wrap this around, and we wrap it just by itself. As we wrap this around, you can see I'm just wrapping it, but I'm maintaining this pressure here so that there won't be any pressure on this portion. Now we're done with that side. Now we'll wrap this one around, sort of in the same way. We're just wrapping it around. It doesn't matter that much how this side is wrapped, but we might as well wrap it the same way we wrap the other one. When we're done, now we take this strap and we put it around here and hook it back in. And it makes for a tidy package when you put it with these. It's not as good of wrapping as the ones I went over a moment ago, but it's adequate. Again, adequate because this is protected, okay? And it won't tangle up with the other chargers when you put them into a box. So that's the third type. Now these are all for your PC type of laptops. There are also Macs. So this is for an Apple computer, and you can see this is entirely different design than what you've seen before for these PC type of laptops. So I'm going to unwrap this, and you can see you have to unwrap this. It's a little bit twisted now because frankly there's no other way to do it. So you untwist this to rewrap it. Again, it has these little wings that fold in. So you have to open the wings that are there, and this is the portion that we're trying to protect. Just like on the previous ones we talked about, this has to be protected. So as you wrap it, it's helpful to hold it out here with your fingers, right? And then as you wrap, you get a couple of wraps around here, and then it becomes secure at that point. And what I've done is I'm still keeping this so that there's no pressure on this portion of it as it sticks out. You can see this sticks out straight from there. There's no pressure on it as I move it around. And as I would have it in a box, it becomes, you know, sort of bouncing around a lot with other chargers, things like that. So, or even this is the same case when you put it into a bag or something with a bunch of other stuff with your laptop. It's a good idea to wrap it in the same fashion as this. This has also a little clip that's actually on the wire itself, and it just engages with the rest of the wire. I think you're all pretty familiar with that kind of a scenario. You see it a lot on phone cords, things like that. Okay, the last portion of this charger is that this is actually a modular component, and this is where it gets plugged into an outlet for it. This is the most common thing that we see, but there's another type that we see as well, and this is a cord. And this can be wrapped in the same fashion as we did the cord for the other laptop charger you saw a moment ago. So you can wrap it back and forth in a figure 8 like this. You can wrap it in a circular fashion like you would do, say, a garden hose, something like this. in the same way. Just remember that this cable is actually a twisted cable inside here, so you do have to twist as you go. And you can store this any number of ways. It doesn't really matter. In this case, you can store it like this, and then it would plug in, of course, obviously, in the same fashion as it, and now it won't become tangled with it. But most of the ones that we see actually have this component to it. It's much tidier, much smaller, and if we have to buy replacement chargers, this is the type that we do buy for it. So that wraps it up for today. Again, I'm Mike from Laptop Upcycle. We're a local non-for-profit in Montclair, New Jersey. We accept donations of laptops from corporations and individuals. We wipe all the data off of them, refurbish them, and give them out to kids who need them to do their homework. If you'd like to find out more about us, check us out at www.laptopupcycle.org. Thanks for watching.